Live from the Headline News Desk in Atlanta, I'm Judy Fortin. The nationwide search for suspects in the Oklahoma City bombing has netted another man in San Bernardino, California. David Delgado Aniguez is now in custody and is being questioned about the Wednesday attack. Defense Department officials say Delgado is a deserter from the Army. He was stationed at Fort Riley in Kansas until August 24th when he went AWOL. The other suspect in the bombing, Timothy McVeigh, also served at Fort Riley, as did a man being questioned as a material witness, Terry Nichols. But it's not known if the men served at the same time. Law enforcement sources say Delgado is not the John Doe No. 2 who was pictured in a sketch, this sketch here. Authorities are still apparently searching for that person. Again, the only suspect actually charged in the bombing so far is Timothy McVeigh. He's being held at the El Reno Federal Correctional Center outside Oklahoma City. McVeigh will be formally charged Thursday. Two brothers are being questioned as material witnesses in connection with the blast. Terry Nichols and James Nichols were ordered held Friday after James Nichols' farmhouse in Michigan was searched. Police reportedly found blasting caps, safety fuses, and diesel fuel. President Clinton declared today a day of mourning in the wake of the tragedy. At this hour, the President and First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton are in Oklahoma City participating in memorial services for victims of the bombing. Governor Frank Keating is delivering an address right now to the crowd. Let's join it live.
Thank you for coming to touch our lives. Today we have our children. Oklahoma is still a young state, and our young people are very special to us. We have been brutally reminded of how precious they are by the events of the last several days. For them, we reserve our warmest hugs and our gentlest touch. And today, we have our God. He is not a God of your religion or mine, but of all people in all times. He is a God of love, but he is also a God of justice. Today, he assures us once again that good is stronger than evil, that love is greater than hate, that each of us is his special child, embraced by his Father's love. Our pain is vast. Our loss is beyond measure. We cannot fathom this act, but we can reach beyond its horrible consequences. The thousands of us gathered here today are multiplied by God's love, anointed by his gentle mercy. Today we are one with him and with one another. It is right for us to grieve. We have all been touched by this immense tragedy, and our sorrow is part of the healing process. For some of us stricken with intense personal loss, it will be a long and tortured path. For all of us, it is a journey through darkness.
That is Oklahoma Governor Frank Keating. President Clinton is due to speak next. Before the services began, Mr. Clinton met with the governor and several of the rescue workers who pulled survivors from the rubble of the bombed-out federal building. Even as Oklahomans grieve the 72 people found dead so far, many are unwilling to give up hope that more survivors will be found in the rubble. Tony Clark has more.
In churches across the country, the thoughts and prayers were with the families and friends of the victims of Wednesday's bombing.
We share your grief. We know that God's heart was the first to break when that blast occurred.
Sunday was set aside as a national day of mourning, and nowhere was the sorrow felt more deeply than at Oklahoma City's First Christian Church, where many of the families of the dead and missing have been gathering for days.
Grief is nature's way of healing a broken heart. I feel this pain, this anguish, because grief is love, not wanting to let go.
The congregation's prayers were shared by rescue crews as they searched the tangle of concrete and metal for survivors Sunday. Through it all, they maintained hope of finding someone alive.
There's always a chance there are a lot of voids in there, and there's what we saw in the California earthquakes. You know, there's always a chance for survivors, and we always hope and pray that we will be able to pull someone out.
It's dangerous work for the rescue crews. This weekend's rain and wind further weakened the federal building. Giant pieces of concrete hung dangerously from top floors. Search crews had to be pulled out of the federal building while the concrete slabs were cut free.
When we have a danger to ourselves and we eliminate it, then we go back to rescuing. But it's all one big rescue effort.
Search crews moved closer Sunday to the site of the daycare center. Their prayers are that by some miracle, they'll find a tiny hand reaching out to them from the rubble. Their fear is that, after so many days, they will only find death. Tony Clark, CNN, Oklahoma City.
Go back live now to the Oklahoma State Fairgrounds where President Clinton is delivering his remarks.
I am honored to be here today to represent the American people. But I have to tell you that Hillary and I also come as parents, as husband and wife, as people who were your neighbors for some of the best years of our lives. Today our nation joins with you in grief. We mourn with you. We share your hope against hope that some may still survive. We thank all those who have worked so heroically to save lives and to solve this crime. Those here in Oklahoma and those who are all across this great land, and many who left their own lives to come here to work hand in hand with you. We pledge to do all we can to help you heal the injured, to rebuild this city, and to bring to justice those who did this evil. This terrible sin took the lives of our American family, innocent children in that building only because their parents were trying to be good parents as well as good workers. Citizens in the building going about their daily business, and many there who served the rest of us, who worked to help the elderly and the disabled, who worked to support our farmers and our veterans, who worked to enforce our laws and to protect us. Let us say clearly, they served us well, and we are grateful. But for so many of you, they were also neighbors and friends. You saw them at church or the PTA meetings, at the civic clubs, at the ballpark. You know them in ways that all the rest of America could not. And to all the members of the families here present who have suffered loss, though we share your grief, your pain is unimaginable, and we know that. We cannot undo it. That is God's work. Our words seem small beside the loss you have endured, but I found a few I wanted to share today. I've received a lot of letters in these last terrible days. One stood out because it came from a young widow and a mother of 3 whose own husband was murdered with over 200 other Americans when Pan Am 103 was shot down. Here is what that woman said, I should say to you today. The anger you feel is valid, but you must not allow yourselves to be consumed by it. The hurt you feel must not be allowed to turn into hate, but instead into the search for justice.